If you're a nursing or pre-nursing student and you know that you need to learn a better way to study so that you can get better exam grades, improve your clinical judgment, and go on to become the best possible nurse you can be, you're in the right place. Over the next 10 minutes, I'm going to give you an intro to all 4 steps of the Silver Bullet study system, which is the method that I have created after working with nursing students as a professional nursing tutor for over 15 years. This is going to help you to make sure you always know what the most important information is. It's going to move you away from memorizing things and move you towards understanding them. And one of the best things, I think, is you're not going to have to read your textbook word for word anymore. By the way, if we haven't met already, my name is Nicole Whitworth. I'm the founder of Your Nursing Tutor. And as I said, I've been a professional nursing tutor working with nursing students just like you for over 15 years. Sign up for my email list and I'll be happy to send you a copy of this chart that goes along with this video that lists out all 4 steps. I know you can't see it super well in this video, so I wanted to give you something you can print out and follow along with at home if you want to and remind you about it later. The first thing you need to understand about the Silver Bullet study system is that this is not just note-taking, okay? It's not just a way to organize your notes. What it is it's a whole new way of thinking. It's a strategy to train your brain for how to think like a nurse. So here's the intro on how to get started. Step 1, I call the foundational 15. This is where you start identifying the most important information, even if you're a brand new nursing student and you have no clue what is going on. You do it by asking yourself one simple question. What is it that I need to know about normal before I can begin to understand the topic that I'm trying to study? This is the step where we expect most of our memorization and review to happen. Because even though we're moving away from memorization with our studying, there are some things you need to memorize. If you're reviewing respiratory disorders, you would need to know the respiratory anatomy and physiology. If you're studying electrolyte imbalances, you'd have to know the normal lab values. I call it the foundational 15 because I really recommend setting a timer for 15 minutes. Because even though it is essential that you review this stuff, you don't want to only review normal stuff because you do need to get to the information that's going to be on your next exam. Don't be a perfectionist on this step. There's going to be ways in steps 2, 3, and 4 where you're going to catch if you missed anything important and you'll be able to self-correct as you go. That's part of the beauty of this process. Not only do most nursing students completely skip this step, but most nursing instructors do too. Nursing students, you think you don't have time to do this? And nursing instructors, they don't even realize how important it is sometimes, or they assume you know it already. But the truth is you do not have time to skip this step. It is essential to understanding what comes later. Because remember, your goal in nursing school is no longer just to memorize content. It's to develop your clinical judgment. That's what NCLEX tests you on. That's what your nursing exams are going to test you on. Step 2 is the Humpty Dumpty factor because Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and now he's broken. Step 2, you ask yourself, what has broken or changed compared to normal in step 1 to cause the problem that we're studying? If you're studying a disease process, it's usually pretty easy because it's going to be the pathophysiology. If you're studying for a class like pharmacology or fundamentals, you're going to have to use a slightly different strategy to identify what is broken or changed because a lot of times you're studying normal topics in those classes. In either case, what's important here is that you have to describe what is broken or changed in one sentence. You have to use everyday words and break it down the way you'd explain it to a 5th grader. Not only will you understand it better this way, but your future patients are going to thank you because they're going to be sick, they're not feeling good, they're confused, they don't understand the medical jargon, and you're going to be able to explain what's going on with them in a way that makes them feel better. This is really one of the things that is going to make you a really awesome future nurse. Step 3, I call crystal ball predictions. That's because this is the spot where you switch gears from phase 1 studying, which is kind of the memory work and the laying the foundation, and you move on to phase 2, which is the true understanding and really sharpening your clinical judgment. So if you're serious about wanting to improve your critical thinking skills, learn to think like a nurse, get better at clinical judgment, and finally understand what those nursing exam questions are asking you, stop believing the lie that you have to memorize all of the symptoms, all of the nursing care, all of the side effects, because you don't. You need to focus on understanding them instead. And here's how you do that. You ask yourself this question. Based on what I know about normal and based on what has broken from normal, how is that going to change things? Then you just start making predictions. So again, for example, if you're studying pneumonia, pneumonia is inflammation of the lungs. So if you know the normal anatomy and physiology of how lungs work, the fact that they're supposed to help you breathe, and the gas exchange that happens in the alveoli, and then in step 2, you know what's broken is now the lungs are inflamed and they're not supposed to be. then even if you don't know the specific symptoms for pneumonia, you can at least make a prediction that you're going to have difficulty breathing. Once you've spent a few minutes making predictions, then you check your answers. Use your textbook, use Google, use YouTube. I don't care which resource you use. You just need to check and make sure that the answers you picked were more or less correct, and notice if you missed anything important. If you missed something important, then you want to know why. Notice throughout this whole process, we're actually connecting the dots. So if you have a symptom, you don't understand why, and you can't connect the dots with steps 1 and 2, this is your clue that you probably missed something that you needed to understand about normal in step 1. Remember how I said this is a self-checking study method? You just self-checked yourself. And I have to say it again, if there's only one thing you remember about this step, let it be this. You must take the time to make predictions for yourself. Do not just copy symptoms out of the book without thinking about it. If you do that, you're just memorizing. And you're not going to learn this the way you should. The silver bullet study system is not going to work for you, not because the silver bullet study system doesn't work, but because you're not using the silver bullet study system. You're still doing the memorization thing. You understand what I'm saying here? The making predictions part is absolutely key because this is what is starting to develop your clinical judgment skills. And I promise that if you do this brain work consistently as you are studying throughout nursing school, you are going to end up studying less and less as you progress through nursing school, but getting better and better grades and feeling more and more confident as you go. And one day you're going to wake up and realize that you feel totally relaxed and prepared for your next exam. You got a good night's sleep last night. You had dinner with your family while all of your classmates are freaking out. Now on to step 4, which I call finally nursing care. Because y'all thought you came to nursing school to learn nursing care, but that's actually the last thing you get to learn. And here's why. It's because nursing care is like an iceberg. Have you ever heard the statistic that only 10% of an iceberg is viewable above the water? The remaining 90% of those huge icebergs are completely submerged and you can't even see them. If you really struggle with prioritization type questions in your nursing exams, it is not because you need better test taking strategy. It's because you're missing that 90% that's under the surface of the water. Same with select all that apply questions, and same with that common problem that you can narrow it down to 2 answer choices, but then you always pick the wrong one. And it simply means that you have been focused on memorizing instead of understanding. And so you're trying to answer these questions without that 90% that you need to truly be able to identify the 10% that is the question that's being asked. Steps 1 through 3 of the silver bullet study system will develop that 90% underwater that you need. And it'll happen a lot faster than you think too. So the way we do step 4 is basically the same process as step 3. You make your prediction of what kind of nursing care or medical care is going to be done based on what we know about normal, what has broken or changed, what's happened as a result, and now what are we going to do about it? Once you make your predictions, check your favorite resources to find out, were my predictions correct? Is there anything that I missed? By the way, did I mention that this is why I tell nursing students you don't have to read your textbook word for word? Instead, with this study method, we're learning to use our textbook like a dictionary, not a novel. So don't read it like a novel. And you'd never sit down and say, let's open the dictionary and read the letter B today. No, you open up the dictionary and you say, hey, I need to know how to spell this word, or I need to know what this word means. And then you just look up that information and then you close the dictionary. And it can be the same way with your textbook. And that is your intro to the silver bullet study system. I guarantee that if you follow these 4 steps correctly over and over for everything you study in nursing school, your study time is going to decrease. You're going to feel more confident and relaxed. Your test grades are going to improve. And really, you're going to be developing your clinical judgment, which is the absolute most important goal you should have for yourself in nursing school. If you've got questions about the silver bullet study system and you're watching this video in a place where you can leave comments, leave a comment and I will try to help you out. If you're watching this video in a place where you can't leave comments, you can find me at my website, yournursingtutor.com. And that's also where you can get some information on how to work with me if you're interested, because I know this can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Don't forget, make sure you sign up for my email list so that I can send you a printable copy of the 4 steps of the silver bullet study system to help you remember them while you're studying for yourself. Here's to your nursing school success. And as always, good luck on your nursing school journey.